Hello humans, Mr. Bell here with drawing exercise number 7. Today we are going to be drawing a branch, a single branch. That is B-R-A-N-C-H, branch. Go ahead and maybe write branch under that. A student suggested that maybe we start labeling the exercise rather than just numbers, but also what they're about. And I think that is a great idea, so we're going to start doing that now. So exercise number 7, this is drawing a branch. Here we go. So organic lines, right? Remember those squiggly and wiggly lines. We're not working with straight lines or hard angles. Those lines that kind of wave. Thinking about the texture of like bark as we draw. We're just drawing the outline of the branch today. And then later maybe we're going to work on some bark texture on it. Your branch can go anywhere you want it to be. I'm going to put mine right here in the corner. Maybe yours comes from the top. I don't know. Somewhere on the side of the paper where you can really only see just like one part of a branch. If you want your branch to go all the way across and end on the other side, that's fine too. I think I'm going to do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, holding it in that awkward way, and I'm going to confidently lay a line kind of, kind of looking branchy. Kind of like so. Then I'm going to go back down to the bottom, and when I'm drawing a branch, this one, the tree that I'm growing is over this way. Okay, so the trunk of the tree and the bulk of the tree is over here on the other side of the paper where you can't see it, and then this is where like the branches will start to get thinner and end over on this side. So I'm going to purposely start down here where it's a little bit fatter, so I have some room to kind of follow the line that I already made, but make it get kind of skinnier as it goes out, because, branches can be really, really thick at the top, and then towards the end, they can really peter out. So you have something that looks like this. Doesn't look very branchy yet, and that's because I need to make a choice. When I used to teach little kids in grade school, when I would teach them to draw trees, I would kind of say this, and I think it's still relevant for this. So I'm going to kind of talk about it in that same way. This big branch that I made, this first branch, this is the grandma branch, okay? The big fat branches that you have that kind of support all the smaller branches. I call those grandma branches. And then grandma branches on trees always have mom branches that come off of it. And the mom branches are going to be thicker when you draw towards the bottom of that branch. And then as you get up here, those mom branches are going to become a little bit smaller until they become baby branches, and then or daughter branches, and then they'll become baby branches. So I think I want to put a mom branch maybe in this zone. So I'm going to erase what I made here. And then I'm going to grow this branch out. Remember, as branches grow, they always tend to sprout outwards, kind of like in this direction. They really won't grow like, they won't have a line that goes and then goes backwards on itself. They're always looking for that light, right? So growing outwards is really the only option that a tree has to try to catch more sunlight. So when you're drawing branches, always be thinking about that. They're always going to be wanting to be pushing outward. So I'm going to put my mom branch right here. And I'm going to kind of work on having this transition being a little smooth, right? So I don't want this to just be, there's the branch. I want it to look like it grew kind of out of it. And when branches tend to grow, usually they don't have those angular, those geometric angles. They kind of have a smooth transition into a smaller branch. So maybe this branch lives up here and it doesn't quite end. It doesn't go that much further. Maybe that's about where it goes. And then I want to have this one still another smooth transition. I want to hold this up just so you can definitely see it. So you want it to be a little curvy. You don't want it, again, to be a hard angle. Often when people are drawing branches, they fall into that trap of making it look too much like lightning rather than more kind of like a river in that, like that motion of that smooth transition. So I'm going to bring this branch up here. Maybe it goes up here. Then it's probably going to end maybe around there. Then on this same branch, and then you can go over here and, hey, maybe I want to put another mom branch here. But before I do that, I'm going to put a daughter branch, maybe right here. And then it's going to go outward. as you're drawing trees, you want to, like for this branch especially, you want to kind of keep it a little simple just to maybe make it easier on yourself. But remember, when trees grow and their branches sprout out, you're looking at a whole bunch of branches stacked on each other. Kind of like we were thinking about when we did those objects and we shadowed them. They don't just kind of exist in one dimension, right? They're three-dimensional objects, so they grow behind themselves. So I'm going to add a branch right around in here, and it's going to go underneath this branch. And then it'll stick out like that. And then on this branch, I think I want to put... So I would say this is a grandma branch. I would say this is a mom branch. And then these are two daughter branches that kind of shoot off of it. And then I'm going to add a baby branch. And when I do baby branches, usually what I mean is like really thin, simple, just lines. Sometimes like my baby branches will be just a little teeny thing like that. And remember, trees aren't that filled, right? So an individual branch like this may not have, you know, more than like 3 or 4 mom branches that stick out of it. You know, it all depends on what kind of tree you're trying to draw. I didn't like how that looks, so I want to fix that. I want it to go all the way up the page. I'm going to go ahead and draw one more mom branch down here. I think this guy's going to live right around there. And yeah, I want this guy to go all the way up the page too. Then I'm thinking about that smooth transition into it, right? Not like a drastic curve, but it does stick out. You know, it's not like it's just a smooth transition. You got to pick that spot where that branch starts to stick out and kind of go with it, but you want it to be a curve, not a hard angle. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Maybe this branch ends somewhere around there. Then, you know, I'm going to add just a few more branches. When you guys are doing this, keep adding branches until you think it looks like a tree. See, you notice how when I drew this, it just kind of looked like a blob shape, right? And as I'm adding these branches, it's going to start looking more and more like it's really an outline of a tree. The thing that you really, there is no wrong way to draw these lines outside of always keeping in mind that as branches grow, when they're near the trunk, they're thicker, and then as they go outward, they always get thinner. That's true for all kinds of trees. And then most branches will have a couple that stick out of them, kind of similar to this. So one last, I'm going to put a daughter branch right here. One of the cool things about drawing trees is, especially if you draw like a small portion of it, if you look at this, you can't really tell how big this tree is, right? So for if extra challenge, I am going to add 1 leaf to this. Kind of like it's that straggler leaf left over from, it's like the fall and it's about to lose its very, very last leaf. So I'm going to put a leaf right here. And when I draw this leaf, all of a sudden this branch that you can't really tell how big it is, you'll be able to tell pretty much how big that whole tree is just from one little teeny detail. So all of a sudden this tree now has a leaf on it. Maybe one more. And now all of a sudden it puts it into more of a time and place and context. And you can tell how big this tree is. So maybe now that I look at this and how big I decided to draw these leaves, I bet this tree maybe is like a story and a half tall. Kind of big, thick branches rather than the little branches. You can do that. So, like if I was to draw a big old leaf here, and you don't have to do this on yours, but I just want to illustrate my point. I'm going to get rid of this guy and add a big old leaf here. So now I'm going to add a big leaf here. You know, and all of a sudden, this tree branch is much, much smaller now. This is maybe more of a bush than a tree. So you can play with sizes like that. I am going to finish this, and I'll show you this maybe tomorrow when I do the exercise with class. I don't want you I want you to basically draw what I did, kind of copying that idea, but make it your own. Make your branches where you want them to be. And there is no real guideline to how many mom branches or daughter branches you should add. You should just keep adding them until you think that your tree is starting to look a little bit more like a realistic looking outline of a tree. Oops, I messed that up. I don't like that angle. It's going to bug me. I can't go to bed if that bugs me. Then finish this up. Well, bam. Drawing exercise number 7, branches. Have a good rest of your day, guys.